Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. We're starting with a 5 of Cups. This is an ability to identify our emotions, to find out what is hurting and why. Anytime we get a 5, is a card of change. It could be that our feelings are changing. It could be that we are expecting something to be present, but it's not there. So there's a disappointment. Okay, it's something that your emotional body is saying, hey, look at me, this needs to be addressed. We need to do something about this. Okay, there's something missing that maybe we don't know what it is yet. Or maybe we do, and we've been sort of tolerating this feeling for a little while. Okay, but I feel like you're somebody who's in touch with your emotions. I feel like you've recognized how you feel, and now it's time that we're going to do something about it. Yeah. Let's put this card into a little bit of context. We're going to use the Dove and Serpent spread. We've got a 2 of Wands. There's you doing something about it, right? We've got a Queen of Wands underneath. There's the 7 of Cups, a 9 of Cups. Look at that. And the 8 of Cups going forward. Interesting, we have 7, 8, 9. Starts with the 5, right? The 5 is what we're observing. The 5 is us realizing that I need to change things, okay? So the 8 here really could be that we're walking away from something that is not serving us any longer, so we can find what will, right? Walking away from something that doesn't meet our needs, and we're going to take our fiery energy and we're going to go get what we need. There is an Ace of Pentacles, a 2 of Pentacles, a 10. Look at that, 10 of Cups, and the Hermit. Yeah, it's definitely this kind of walking away. Now, the walking away may be metaphorical, it may be literal, right? But the idea here is that we've been enduring something that hasn't been feeling so good. And maybe it took us a while to realize what that thing was. That's why we have this 7. A lot of the time, the 7 is something that may be masquerading as something very positive. And then we realize that not really as good as I thought it was. Okay, but let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right here with our little octopus friend, the 8 of Tentacles. Right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need at the end of this reading. If at any point during this message you feel like you know what that card is, put your prediction in the comments down below. Okay? Now, let's take a look around the room. The only major arcana energy we have is the Hermit. And the long-term kind of final projected outcome here is the Hermit. Now, this doesn't mean that you are alone. No. I think what the Hermit is suggesting is that you have shielded yourself from negative energies, negative vibrations. You've gained the ability to walk away easily from things that don't satisfy your needs, that aren't healthy for you, people, places, things that don't support you, that don't have your best interest. Okay? And this is also the ability to protect ourselves from future engagements or entanglements with that kind of negative energy. Okay? So it doesn't mean, the Hermit doesn't mean we're going to be alone. Long term, it means that we're going to be paying more attention to our internal state, right, from here on out. We're going to be aware when something doesn't feel right. We're going to listen to that feeling. that we're going to shorten the distance between the 7, right? The kind of something masquerading as something that's good or something that may feel good, but if we really were to look deeper, we'd see that this is not as healthy as it, as we wish that it was. Shortening the distance between the 7 and the 5. The sooner we identify the feeling, the sooner we can, 2 of Wands, take action. Okay. Now I'm feeling kind of a heavy energy around you. I feel like there's an older male energy that maybe, I want to say recently passed, somebody who is in spirit now, but it's an older male energy. They're very close to you, and they were always very close to you. I feel like they knew you when you were a baby, right? Because I'm seeing them kind of holding a baby, right? And I feel like it's probably a father, grandfather, great-grandfather, something like this, right? I feel like that energy has always been very close to you, and I feel like they're part of your spirit team right now. And I wonder if you've been getting more kind of messages from them, okay? Like they kind of like to do the light switch thing, or they like to send like a static or a hum with no identifiable source, right? So anyway, we've got our major arcana. We've got fire and fire. We've got a lot of water, right? Water, 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 water. We don't have any air energy. And we've got our earth and our earth. Okay, so the earth energy is kind of what we are, what we're transitioning into, where we're taking this water energy and we're saying, well, I've got to change something, right? My behavior has to change. I have to move. I have to take a step in some direction if I want to change things. Identifying the feeling is not enough if we don't then have the motivation to change, which is the 2 of Wands, and then also the taking the steps toward change, the 2 of Pentacles, right? So the feeling that we have, the feeling we want, the feeling we have, and knowing the path forward is leading to an impulse to action. This is a will inside of you, okay? We have to take that 2 of Wands, we have to convert it to motion, right? This is potential energy, this is kinetic energy. This is energy, this is converting it into matter here. Converting the impulse into behavior. This is manifesting. We want to see change in our life. Well, we've got to take that energy, that will, that desire, that Mars and Aries, push toward action. We have to let it become action, right? We have to take positive steps. We have to be proactive. Yeah. So the 2 of Wands is, it's your dominion. It's kind of like this idea that this is my responsibility and no one's going to change things for me. No one's going to come and fix whatever this is for me. I identify this feeling. And, I think, again, you're someone who's in touch with your emotions. And so you're able to say, okay, you know what? I see this. I've got to do something about it. It's the same if it were a 5 of Pentacles, right? Where maybe we feel, I always use the example, we stub our toe. Yeah, and there's this throbbing pain in my toe. What could that be from? I'm just going to ignore it. Well, eventually you're going to look at the toe. You may not want to, but you're going to look at it. It's been hurting for a while. Let's look at the toe. We see what the toe's doing, right? And then we have this this impulse toward, movement, right? Some sort of behavior. We either jump around and scream and cry in pain, or we say, or maybe we do that, and then we also, grab a Band-Aid or a bandage, or we splint it, or we, clean it off and put some, some kind of ointment on it, or whatever it is, elevate it, right? We take positive actions to remedy that problem. So that's what we have here, but this is an emotional situation, okay? And I think identifying the feeling right now is leading to this will, this urge, this desire, this impulse to remedy that 5 of Cups, because what you want, what you're hoping for in life, obviously we all are, is a 9 of Cups, the happiness. I was going to say the 10 of Cups, but the 10 of Cups is over here in what you don't want. This is the obstacle here. Okay. And in some ways, it almost is that the obstacle is this idea of perfection. I don't think that you're expecting your life always to be absolutely 100% perfect and absolutely for you and have there be no even hint of dissatisfaction. You're not that kind of a perfectionist where, you have like zero tolerance for just kind of human nature. So I feel like the 9 is the realistic goal here. The 10 is kind of like, I don't expect things to be perfect, but I do want things to be like 99% perfect, right? 9 out of 10, let's say 90% perfect. So I feel like you're not unreasonable, but the thing that we don't see is the swords cards. Why don't we have any swords? Is it because we are not communicating our desires, our intentions? We're not, in this situation of yours, are you not speaking up? Okay? Or have we done that already? And now we're just kind of saying, it's not the time for talking, it's the time for action. Not time for moving my lips, time for moving my feet, right? And so I feel like maybe the talking is already done. Maybe you've tried to voice your feelings and express your opinions and ask for what you want, and it didn't work. So now I feel like our recourse is, well, I've just got to take some action. I got to do something else. I've got to, I got to change my behavior. The 2 of Wands reminds us that our behavior is the only behavior we can control, and indeed the only behavior we are responsible for. We cannot change what other people do. We can't control what they do. But we also have to be very mindful of what we do. Even when we're feeling a 5 of cups, what is the impulse? What is the reaction that you have? If we get mad and we yell and we throw things, like that's something that we have to be responsible for. We may say, well, the other person kind of, they drew it out of me, they elicited that response, but we have to try to control our response and respond to the situation in a way that is going to bring about our very highest good and our greatest happiness. So we have to be able to feel our feelings, but not let those emotions drive us into behaviors that we wouldn't logically or reasonably choose. So that's another reason why there's no swords cards here. We have to be very careful that we're not just reacting impulsively to the feeling, but that we do invoke a little bit of our kind of logical mind here. Maybe the mystery card will be a 6, right? Or a 2 of swords. To say that we're not just reacting impulsively. Because see, with a 5 of cups, I kind of feel like this is a situation that then brings out some of this very martial energy of the 2 of Wands, and we have a tendency to react in a way that is not going to be for our highest good, and maybe we even see here is making things a little worse. So we've got to be careful. We've got to choose health and well-being. We've got to choose our prosperity. We've got to choose our own happiness, and let that sort of let that temper our behaviors, our impulses. Okay? And even sometimes in this situation, it could be that the hermit is literally walking away from a bad situation rather than staying in that bad situation and letting some of our, more negative impulses get their way. Does that make sense? So down beneath the surface, we do have the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands can have a little bit of a temper, okay? And this is something that's under the surface. It's a little bit unconscious or subconscious for you right now. Let's make sure that we're not letting this one out that's going to kind of, it's going to take this fiery energy and really is going to run with it, but might end up making things a little bit worse. At the same time, this card is very useful for us because I think without this card, without the fire energy, without a little bit of anger or frustration, we end up just being very passive. We end up being like the Queen of Cups, right? Where we're just kind of letting things happen. And we're just we're wondering, why does this happen to me? It's kind of like we're going the hanged man direction, where we're just accepting it. We don't like it. We're lamenting it. We're suffering, but we feel like we can't change it. This card at least is saying, wait, no, I'm standing up and I don't have to take this anymore. So I feel that we need this. We need to consciously recognize a little bit of this temper, this anger, this frustration, and we need to use this in a positive way. Not let it creep around in the subconscious where it's gonna take some of this fire, it's gonna change our behavior, and it's gonna make things worse. No, we want to bring this to the foreground so we can use this fiery, angry, perhaps, energy and say, I'm making some changes in my life that are going to bring me more happiness. We want to bring these two cards into alignment, okay? The hope here, what you're wishing for, is a happy, abundant life, as we all are. You just want to be happy. You just want to find some abundance and some satisfaction, some joy and pleasure in the physical, financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual creative planes. It's not too much to ask, right? That's the life that we're all kind of striving for, right? And if we're not here yet, well, this is what we're striving for. We're trying to pursue our happiness, follow our bliss, okay? Some situation in your life right now is not conducive to your highest good. And so we need to figure out what we can change. We can't force somebody else to act differently or behave differently, but we can. We can behave differently. We can act differently. We can make different choices, okay? Because this is what we want. This is happiness, right? This is getting back to like living the dream. Okay. But in the recent past, we have the Seven of Cups, and this could be a relationship. This could be a lifestyle choice. It could be some habits. It could be some indulgences. It could be, really anything. But at one time, it felt like it was very good. And it may be in the short term, immediately gratifying. But we're starting to recognize that in the long term, it's not making me feel that good. So I think we're seeing this for what it is. This was a quick fix. This was a Band-Aid on the situation. This was us ignoring the reality of how we really felt and what the implications of this energy was. This is some toxicity. But this is very often, we don't recognize this is toxic until it's really, right in our face, until we just can't ignore it anymore. A lot of the time, this toxicity will masquerade as something very healthy and very pleasant. Yeah. And this is in the recent past, so I feel that this isn't such a long-term thing. It's something I think that you recently got involved with. It could be a relationship, could be a job situation, it could be, the situation itself could be really very new. It could be that you've been at the job a long time, but suddenly now there's been maybe another person there, or something's shifted, and at first it was kind of cool, but now it's like, wait a minute, this is really bad for me, In the future position, you've got your Eight of Cups, and the Eight of Cups sometimes it is literally the hermit walking away from something, right? Where the hermit is leaving something in order to find, I think, greater happiness, okay? This is a Saturn in Pisces energy. So in some ways, this is a loss of interest in something. This is kind of saying I don't want the thing that like I used to want it. Okay? And maybe that's why the Seven of Cups is back here. Maybe this was something that really felt good, right? And maybe there is nothing necessarily toxic about it. What if it was a relationship, or that job, or that new hobby, or that new, the new interest, the new involvement, the new vocation, or some toy that you bought, right? And we like it until one day we realize that our feelings toward it have changed. And maybe this is talking about a friendship or a romantic relationship. But see, we realize that, hey, you know what, I don't like this anymore. This doesn't feel good anymore. It doesn't mean that there's necessarily anything wrong with it. It doesn't mean that it is toxic. But what it may mean is that your feelings toward it have changed. That it doesn't feel good anymore. It just doesn't, it's not working for you. Okay. It could be that simple, right? And in fact, that would be a lot easier, because then we can use some of this fiery energy and we can just say, no, you know what, as much as I may miss that thing, I may feel bad for that my feelings have changed, and I may feel guilty for wanting to go in a different direction. We have that fire energy that says, I got to do what's right for me. I've got to control my behavior, and I have to do what's positive. We can't linger in that situation if our heart's not in it anymore. Right? That's not fair to anybody. So the Eight of Cups could literally be this this kind of inner awareness that I've got to step away from this thing, and it's not meant for me anymore. Like I said, very often this card is about the hermit walking away from something that isn't a negative thing, right? But it is something that we don't feel connected to any longer, okay? So in the future position here, your immediate future, I feel like, is your realization that the best choice is to distance yourself from whatever this situation is. And maybe that's kind of the best option too, is to put some distance there so that you don't kind of end up with the Queen of Wands reacting in a way that is sort of not for your highest good. Does that make sense? Letting our frustrations kind of mount and build until they erupt, and we end up reacting in a way we don't really want to react. Let's talk about the path of the serpent. As we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. These readings are totally free. So we've got the Ace of Pentacles, and this is the beginning of a new path. This is us taking that first step in that new direction. Okay, I think you're somebody that you do well with new beginnings. You're okay kind of starting over. You're okay with walking away from something and saying, it was nice, but I got to go. I think that you're naturally pretty solitary anyway. Yeah. I don't feel like you have a lot of codependent energy to you at all, I think you kind of like starting new things. You like the adventure, We can formulate it that way. We can look at things that way and think, yeah, this may be kind of a rough emotional time right now. I mean, these are definitely some challenging emotional cards, right? But we could look at this as an adventure. A new pathway is opening up to me, and we can get excited about what the world has for us. We can get excited about what's coming next, And so I think that this is your readiness to see what else is out there, to see if you can find something that sort of resonates with you more, Now, the Two of Pentacles, that is about your relationships. There is a change in your relationships coming. A change in the way you're relating to this situation, a change in the way you're relating to this person, if it's about one particular person. You're doing something different. You are changing your behavior because the dynamic of the relationship now is not working for you. Okay? Whether this is, just generally you're not feeling connected to it, if there's been some kind of conflict or friction, or some realization that, hey, this is not fun for me anymore, you are changing your behavior, and that is just by default changing the dynamic of the relationship. Okay. And so this is, again, the transfer of the Two of Wands, the transformation of the Two of Wands into the Two of Pentacles. Okay. This is you like literally doing something different kind of on your own. And I really feel like we're taking steps away from this situation. Yeah. And like I said about the Ten of Cups, there's a need for you to acknowledge to yourself that you're not just being difficult. I don't know if somebody's ever said that to you, or if that's something that it kind of has come up with other people, that you're not just expecting perfection. You don't have these unreasonable standards or expectations, So I feel like this is you acknowledging to yourself that, look, this is real, this is meaningful. I'm not just being dramatic. I'm not just like overreacting. I'm not expecting too much. I'm not being too sensitive or anything like that, you know? Because the Ten of Cups is this card of like complete and utter perfection and satiety, that everything is wonderful. Well, it doesn't really exist that way. You know, not everything is ever picture perfect because we're living, breathing human beings, right? At least most of us. And so we have to deal with the dynamics of our relationships. And so nothing is ever this static, perfect picture, right? At most, we get a 9 out of 10. And that 9 out of 10 is like the closest to perfection that we get, right? So to have this card in the position of the obstacle here, I think the difficulty that you're having is this, maybe this kind of internal dialogue that says, am I being unreasonable? Am I expecting too much? Am I being way too sensitive here and I should just be happy with what I've got? You know what I mean? And so I think that you're coming to the conclusion, maybe you already have, that no, I shouldn't just be happy with what I have. If it's not resonating with you, it's not resonating with you. It doesn't mean you're being dramatic. It doesn't mean that you have these unreasonable expectations, or that you are, that you're expecting or kind of demanding that everybody conform to what's going to make you feel good, right? Because I think you recognize that, and I think you've done the work to say, yeah, this isn't just me being difficult, you know. So I like that. I think it's a good thing we've got these cards here. Now the Hermit, of course, is doing the soul searching. The Hermit is saying, well, you know what? Maybe I've just got to go find my own path. Maybe I do need to step away from the situation, at least for a time, to understand where my soul is trying to take me. If we're not feeling this situation anymore, if we're not feeling this relationship, we've got to look inside and look at it. We've got to find out why. And to do that, maybe we need a temporary departure, a break. Maybe we need to step away. Maybe we need a time out, right? I think that the Hermit card here, as the sort of projected outcome of all of this other energy, is saying that the Hermit is going to go pursue happiness, even if it means walking away from something and feeling a little bit of the guilt, kind of feeling like, well, I'm going to miss those people, you know. The Hermit is comfortable starting over. The Hermit is comfortable going their own way. The Hermit is the way maker, right? The Hermit is the one that can sort of find their own trail through the wilderness. Yeah. And I feel that those are our two options. We either stay where we're not feeling it, where our heart's not in it, and we try to ignore what our emotions are telling us, or we go in this other direction and we feel that kind of pain of walking away from something with the hope, the optimism, and really the certainty that we'll find what's meant for us. Okay. This could be something simple as well, you know what, you don't care about learning the guitar anymore, right? You realize that playing the drums is not for you. But I think you've done the work to know that it's not just you're jumping ship when things get a little rough. Okay? Because that'd be back to our 9 and 10 of cups, you know? I think that you're making sure that this is real. It's not that you're just giving up when things get difficult, but you're really searching yourself and you're thinking, yeah, this is just not something that resonates with my soul right now. It's not on the same frequency. I'm just not vibing with it. You know? And I think that you're coming to that very honest realization. Let's look at the mystery card, okay? It could be the Temperance card. It could be a 6 or an Ace of Swords. It could be another 9 of Cups. Let's see, what else maybe? Well, I think that's it. It may be the Wheel of Fortune, too. Let's see what we have. 2 of Pentacles, yeah. The feet don't lie here. Okay, so I think you are you're putting this into action. This is behavior. This is a change of behavior, a change of circumstances, a change of dynamic between you and something else. Okay. And all of the fire and all of the water that we see, this is just a lot of water, right? With some fire. The more we feel it, the more we kind of we start to realize that there's some kind of impulse happening here. The longer you try to push down that impulse to move, to do something, to change, to kind of get out of there, the more you're charging up the battery of the Queen of Wands. Eventually that's going to erupt, right? And we're going to lash out. We're going to say something we don't want to say. We're going to react in that kind of way. So we have to start changing what we do. We have to start moving our feet in a different direction here. And maybe this is a little bit at a time, maybe step by step kind of idea here, that we're taking ourselves out of this situation and at least temporarily finding a kind of a safer home base, okay, so that we can reassess. Okay, we may be walking away from something and getting to a, because the 2 and 2 is a 4 of Pentacles, right? Getting to like just a safe place where we can just kind of sit down, we're separated from that energy, and we can think, okay, what do I need to do from here? Yeah. Very interesting reading for you today. We're going to do an extended reading. And, I think that we should just go straight into the extended reading. Okay, this is a bonus reading for you, Scorpio. So I feel like we'll give everybody a sample of what the extended readings are like. And if you feel like joining the channel to get all of the extended readings for all of the zodiac signs, you can click on the link in the corner here, and there's a link down below in the video description. New readings for Scorpio usually Wednesdays and Saturdays. This is a bonus. I feel like there was something that you kind of needed to sort out here, and I can see why that was. So I'm happy that we decided to do this bonus reading for you. Okay, but be sure to watch your regular readings. Okay, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are totally free. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. Okay, let's get straight into the extended reading. We're going to do an I Ching hexagram to start us off. We'll do some oracle cards. We'll do more tarot. We're going to leave these cards on the table. And your hexagram today is hexagram 33. Let's see. Let's get our translation and commentary out. This is my personal translation and commentary. This is a distancing hexagram. Below heaven is the mountain, distancing. You are remote from the small people, not with ill will, but with dignity. Distancing, success for the small, it's worthwhile to persevere. Okay. Distancing. Putting some and that literally is what we're talking about, right? This is kind of a retreat. It's a strategic withdrawal from something. Okay, it's an abstaining, which is interesting. Okay, this is taking yourself to a sanctuary, a safe haven, putting some safe distance between you and something else, right? Which is what we said with the 2 and the 2, creating the 4 of Pentacles. That maybe the first step is to just get away from this. Get to a safe place where you can continue this process of introspection and sorting things out to figure out what to do from here, okay? Keep negative or wrong people at a distance by being firm without being harsh. There will be success, and persisting can help accomplish small things. The mountain stands high against the horizon, but heaven is not diminished by this. Okay? If what you're doing isn't working, you should be doing something differently. Okay, you might be missing information that is available from a larger picture and a more complete context. When carried out with shrewd discernment, the retreat or the walking away, the sort of the leaving something behind, right, is a strategy for success. Remove yourself from disintegrating forces without calling attention to yourself. You control your weaknesses by maintaining your purpose. Okay, there's little ambiguity here. It's a clear injunction to remove yourself from an inferior situation, influence, emotion, or way of thinking, distancing, or pulling back. Okay, especially if this feels like a red flag, if you've got this gut feeling, your emotions are trying to tell you something, listen to them and at least retreat and regroup, reorganize, reassess, do the introspection. Maybe you re-engage, right? Or maybe you just say, that's not for me. I'm going to trust my gut here. Too many red flags. I'm out, right? I think that hexagram is right on point. The I Ching never fails. It's always right, always relevant. We're going to do an angel number now, and this will be our mystery card. Put that over there. Now we'll do an empowerment oracle. The happy heart. I have a happy heart. Today will be full of joyful moments waiting for me to discover. My gratitude overflows from my inner self to those around me. See, that's kind of where our Queen of Wands energy, our temper, our our that kind of fiery energy, our fierceness, right, is going to be toward making us happy, not making things worse. Okay, so this is the happy heart, and this is now what we're motivated to go get. And if that means we got to kind of walk through the mud a little bit to get ourselves out of the mud, then fine, that's what I'm going to do because this is my goal, the happy heart. Okay, the happy heart. So we do have to invoke our Queen of Wands, but we want to make sure that the Queen of Wands is going to do things that are good for us and not just make it worse. Let's do an oracle of the radiant sun. The fortune. The fortune. The sun in Leo, right? Major fortune. Maybe we thought something was literally the bee's knees, right? We thought it was like the best luck that we've ever had. We thought we'd hit the jackpot. Maybe we thought, wow, this is a miracle. This is too good to be true. Sometimes things that are too good to be true are not true, right? And so this could be that disappointment where we really thought we'd hit the jackpot. We really thought we got like the big win. And then we get this, we realize it's a 7 of cups and we just feel like, no, wait, you know what? Not for me. I got to walk away from this. Something in my gut tells me, no, don't do it. Don't make that investment. Don't stay in that situation. Don't sign the papers, whatever it is, right? So interesting to get that, right? We could be talking about something financial here after all, even though the main idea, the dominant energy is this emotional energy. Okay, the situation could be a financial one for you. It doesn't have to be romantic, doesn't have to be with family. Here's a creativity oracle card, communication. The clarity, interactivity, and timing of communications is critical. Okay, and so the communication, right? It's kind of those swords cards that we don't have. I wonder if part of the problem here is that there is a lack of communication, and maybe that's giving you the red flags, or maybe that there is. Maybe it's your happy heart is trying to communicate with you. Maybe there has been some weird synchronicities, some weird coincidences that are giving you that kind of red flag, gut instinct kind of feeling, that's telling you maybe I should get out of here. Yeah. So I feel like your soul or the universe or something is trying to communicate with you. And I feel like it's more of a feeling than a thought, right? Again, no swords cards. More of a feeling than a thought. Let's keep going. Let's do a Metatron oracle card. The Archangel Sandalphon is with you now. Yeah, I do. I feel like there's that older male energy that is close to you, that is with you, and maybe that's the communication. I feel like that person's been trying to communicate with you and maybe trying to guide you away from this and push you in a different direction. Okay, kind of trying to warn you about something. Yeah. And so we see that in the future position, the immediate future, we see that this angel is guiding you. And I think it's part of your spirit team. I think it's that older male energy that knew you as a baby and I feel like they've passed recently. Okay, in the last, year or two probably in time frame. Let's do the Path of the Serpent. And what tarot pack should we use? Let's use the Heimdall Tarot. Yeah, let's use Heimdall. We start off with the Hanged Man. Yes. If we are not taking a step in the right direction, then we're acquiescing. And this is kind of, remember what I said at the beginning of the reading, where it's, if we don't get a little bit of this frustration and this anger, and if it doesn't motivate us to take a step to change something, then we're sort of, we're accepting, we're tolerating, we're giving in, we're acquiescing, and we're kind of going, let's say a Queen of Cups, where it's just like we're lamenting the situation, but we're not getting fired up enough to change anything, right? So this to me feels like a surrender. We don't want that, right? And maybe what we do want instead, the Hanged Man to be, we want the Hanged Man to say, okay, I'm going to just trust in these emotions. I'm going to trust in these feelings. I'm going to trust in this guidance, and I'm going to follow this feeling. I'm going to follow my spirit guide. I'm going to follow the signs. Let's say I'm going to trust in this gut feeling, this instinct that I have, and I'm going to let it guide me out of here. Yeah. So I like that. I think we can use the Hanged Man energy in a positive way. Here we have the universe itself. Don't delay. Yeah, don't delay. I think if we have the Swords card, there's the Swords card, 5 of Swords. If we delay, if we think too much and we delay our actions, I think it's less likely that we're going to actually do anything. Here we have the Queen of Wands now taking action. Queen of Wands here, Queen of Wands up here too. So that's kind of like, it is this powerful confidence in you that says, I deserve to be happy, and I need to follow my gut here. I need to follow my angel. I need to go with the flow. I need to do it. And that's us up there doing it. So I like that. The 5 of Swords is defeat. If we start questioning and doubting ourselves, if we start thinking too much about it and we convince ourselves, well, maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe I'm just scared. Maybe I just expect too much. Maybe I'm being a drama person. Maybe I'm being unreasonable, Maybe I expect perfection. No, that's a 5. It's a self-defeating type of intellectualization. We're questioning our own motives. We're trying to deny how we feel. We have all these feelings here, right? The 7, the 5, the 8 of Cups. And this is us saying, no, maybe I'm just being sensitive, No, we can't get caught in that trap, that snare of thought that's going to prevent us from taking appropriate action right now. Let's look at the mystery card. Angel number 3333, social skills, hope, optimism, liberation, success, prosperity, excitement, enthusiasm. The problems you have today will eventually disappear. Your guardian angels encourage you to maintain a positive outlook on life since your luck may be about to change. It's time to put to use your captivating energy and inspirational personality, but don't let your ego get the best of you. That ego that wants to just kind of get mad and angry and frustrated and say things and react, Let's channel that fiery energy into, positive changes in the right direction. Okay, so that we don't make things worse. I like it. I think this reading is intense, but I think it's a very, very positive message for you. Okay, I want to thank you for being here. I really, really do appreciate you. I love you. Well, we're all in this together.